Welcome to Let's Talk Boobs. This is round 2 of Where's That Head At, or Where's Your Head At? And so, as noted on the last episode, this is round 2, so we're going to do our mind eraser shot and our cheers. This is to bronies and cloppers, to gift givers and bug hoppers. Here's to you in the conspiracy flu. Here's to the left tree, don't give it to me. Far left tree, don't give it to me. Ugh. That's actually really good. It's just a lot. So, we're here in round 2, and
those are going to get to me by the third round.
That's why they're called mind erasers.
That's a good thing we got the mind elixir.
The mind elixir to help rejuvenate us with that bang. So, we wanted to touch on conspiracies, and you know what? We might have a whole nother episode on this because this can be, and I have a really funny story that I want to tell in this round of episodes.
And this is not so much sexual as just topical, I think, for...
Yeah, I think that this whole round of episodes is probably going to be our first most political episode that we've had.
Or least sexual.
Yeah, exactly.
Not necessarily choosing sides political, but it'll have a... We're going to talk about things that may be a little different for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with bronies and cloppers, I mean, that does have to do, because cloppers, do sexualize bronies. But also with our next topic, it'll be on bug chasers and gift givers, and that is 100% about our sexual.
Yeah,
so we just kind of want to throw in
anymore, for sure.
So we wanted to throw in kind of like a little curveball on conspiracies, because I was just like, fuck, why not? And so one conspiracy theory I didn't even know that it was a thing was that Paul McCartney is dead. Apparently he died in 1966.
Paul McCartney.
Ah, fuck, I knew I was going to do it.
Thank you. We're not talking about Paul McCartney.
Let's just say Mr. Paul
the son of the 17th president, John McCartney.
Not Jenny McCarthy's, dad. Oh,
Paul
shit.
McCartney.
All right. That guy. So anyways, I didn't realize that it was a thing that he supposedly died in 1966. And so...
Big conspiracy, though. It was a huge thing. And I wasn't around for it either. But I would say if you talked to somebody who was around, it was a
really
big
that
deal.
Big of,
it was a big deal. Like, it was worldwide when it hit the airwaves that Paul McCartney was dead. I want to say, do you have a date on when it was?
I just said I did write down the date, but I do know it's 1966. I think. Don't.
Okay,
But
I was going to say I think Elvis died in 73, and it's one of those things. It's like.
People don't think Elvis is dead. Shit, I didn't look that one up either.
But I would equate it to this for me, as like remembering the Challenger blowing up.
Yeah, or so like where you were at when 9/11 happened,
right,
where you were where Princess Di died,
so for people, again, it's who did War of the Worlds? There was an author.
I don't know.
It turned into a radio show that people didn't catch this isn't news. And thought that the War of the Worlds was real.
Yeah.
And freaked the fuck out. So I think the Paul McCartney thing was on that level where it became the mythology of it was that people who are my mom's age, probably people who are your mom's age, they would remember it so much differently, like the day that Paul McCartney died.
So I have a question. So do your parents have a story of like when they remembered like the day that Paul McCartney died?
No, because I don't think that I ever knew to bring that up to them. I would say this: I'll bring it up to them at this point and see if they have a remembrance of it.
I'd like to know.
But I know for a fact
it was a big deal.
No, the Elvis dying. I've had a conversation with my parents about that. And they definitely were treated it like one of those. JFK dying. I've had that conversation with my parents. Like
that's
day
also
JFK,
a conspiracy, yeah.
Right, like that.
My dad's huge on that too.
But that day is so ingrained into people's memories.
Yeah.
Like 9/11. I think that may be part of what makes a conspiracy theory great.
Yeah.
Is that it goes along with something that's so impactful.
Well, it's such a big deal that
whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
Like Roswell.
Is it really face value
or not,
yeah.
It makes it more interesting.
So,
9/11, whether it's true or not, makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
JFK, whether it's true or not.
Well,
makes
and
it
that's
more
well also a conspiracy period, because I mean there you can, it's just like in any like lawful case, like you can invent or you can find things that can construe a story
Right.
in any circumstance.
Right.
So I mean that's why there are conspiracy theorists out there, and I mean who's to say we can't call lawyers that, but just paid professionals that make a conspiracy against the other person. Going back to the Paul McCartney conspiracy, I was reading about, because like I said, I never even knew it was one.
But I think that's the thing too. There's going to be a lot of people that are in your boat that you're your age or younger, and they're going to be like, "Who's Paul McCartney?"
Same. Or my kid is probably just going to be like, "Oh, 9/11 conspiracy? What's
Right.
that?" Because it's
Right.
already almost 20 years old. So,
'Cause how old is your daughter?
she's 5.
Okay, so 2015. Yeah, so
No, it happened 2001. So
no, but that's what I'm
next
saying.
year
Is
will be 20 years,
14
yeah.
years before
by the time
she
she becomes
was
a teenager
born.
and it's in her history book, it'll be 30 years old.
It's weird to think of the
crazy.
world that way.
I know.
Because like you think of the Vietnam War for us. Like for me, I was born in '73, and I think that was at the very tail end, and things were. But to me, that doesn't register as part of my history.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that much further.
Yeah.
And so for your daughter, so when we're talking about 9/11, what I'm thinking is that it doesn't seem like it's that far away.
Right?
But for your daughter,
She'll be like, that was
it's
ages
so
ago.
foreign. It's not even on her. It's not, as a child, it's not even on her radar.
Oh, yeah.
She
So,
wouldn't know what 9/11 is.
and that's kind of how, like, the Kennedy assassination was for me growing
Right.
up, because, like, I
But that's
wasn't...
exactly what I'm saying. When we talk
Yeah.
about these conspiracy, like when
And
we
we're like,
talk
oh,
about
that was
Kennedy,
so long ago. And I was like,
Kennedy,
I saw that.
Kennedy for me and you is almost the same thing. The Kennedy assassination seems like it was forever ago because we weren't there.
Or when
But
Bill
for
said...
me personally, it probably was. All right, when would you think the Kennedy assassination was?
it was 69, I think.
69?
I think so.
Okay, so that's only 4.
I could be wrong, but I think it was
that's only
69.
4 years before
Same
I'm
as
born.
Marilyn Monroe.
Right, but that's only 4 years before I'm born is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it seems like
Oh, yeah, because once you actually
because
had to have the
there's no
knowledge...
record of that.
Yeah.
For you to have experienced going through that. Where to me, 9/11 almost feels like it happened yesterday.
Yeah. So, well, let's go back to the Paul McCartney conspiracy, because there's all kinds of funny things, which, I mean, I think...
Hold on. But I think that's important, though. I think that's exactly what I'm saying. For somebody who's my age, it's crazy to them that you would mispronounce his name. But he's not that icon to you that he was.
But I know it's Paul McCartney,
No,
but
but that's not what I'm
fucking
saying.
it up.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. There's a time frame.
Yeah.
There's a weird connection of the stuff that you experience as you grow up.
Yeah.
Like that would be like you mispronouncing Dave Matthews' name, or like who's somebody to
terrible
you
example.
that was a
Black Keys. It'd be like,
No,
Black Chaos.
from 8 to 18
8 to 18?
musical influence.
Oh, it
Somebody-
changed so much. I mean, Eminem was a
somebody-
good one.
So, but that's what I'm saying.
Eminem.
For somebody, yeah. No, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
Where Eminem is now,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I know it's
He's
Paul
a
McCartney.
50-year-old rapper, though.
Yeah. Paul McCartney, I didn't know was a conspiracy theory. I did not know that people thought that he died in 1966, or even that it was like rumored and it was a big thing, which you just told me. So I'm learning even more as we talk about it. And so mainly on the Sgt. Pepper album, that this one's the funniest to me, because people were like, "Oh, I heard you say, John, that I buried Paul at the end of Strawberry
Right.
Fields," and he's like,
And
"I
now all
said
this
cranberry sauce."
Yeah, and all this was news to me when you were telling me about it, because
I think that's
it
so
wasn't
funny.
my
though.
generation. So
But I think it's kind of like when I'm just like, when I say like olive juice and I mouth it, and it looks like I say I love you, and we were doing like, we
Right,
were
right.
watching like the
No,
mouth,
absolutely.
what is it called that we watched today?
bad lip reading.
Bad lip reading, yeah. So I just think it's funny because I can just hear, like, I can't do like a good John Lennon impression, but he's just like, Oh, I was just talking about cranberry sauce, man.
That's not bad.
But,
I'm not hating on that. I was
and
expecting
he's
to
like,
really
I
give me
didn't
some
say I buried Paul.
I
I
didn't say it
said,
was
I
great. You can
cranberry
stop.
sauce.
No,
So
I'm
there's
just
also
No, that was good.
they in the Sgt. Pepper's album they also said that somewhere in the album they said that they formed a new band and there was a new member named Billy Shears, which was supposedly supposed to be Paul McCartney, and
But what better way, I think, during this Sgt. Pepper era, was like we're going to start smoking a bunch of weed.
yeah, and you
know,
can
like, for
tell
the
during each album from album to album which drugs they were
Right.
on as
I'm
well.
pretty sure
So
that the Sgt. Pepper's album specifically was something that they were experimenting and they were so to go in these sort of like different veins and different ideas and for what helps you better.
and what if they just did this specifically to fuck with conspiracy
No,
theorists? You
but-
know, just like, you know what?
but
Let's
being
just act
somebody-
like Paul's
But
dead.
being somebody who plays music, if you want to come up with some crazy conspiracy theory that's going to make it sound like I'm way cooler than I really am, then throw it on me.
He needs one.
No,
He
but
needs one.
you can't get any better than a fake death fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul McCartney's dead.
Yeah.
He's not really dead. He's still alive. Now there's another album. Boom.
And so, well, there's also in the song, John Lennon's song "Day in the Life," it said, "Blew his mind out in the car." Like that doesn't necessarily mean you killed somebody. Maybe you just got
Yeah, I don't
really
even know what that
fucking
means.
high in the car, where you're just like, it blew my mind, or you just
I
ate
would
a
like
fucking
somebody
lot
to
of
blow my mind out
psychedelics,
in
and
the
you're just
car.
like,
Oh, actually, you know what? I know what it means.
or a shotgun.
No, I know what it means now. Blow my mind
Oh,
out
or
in
a
the car.
sexual innuendo. There you go. Innuendo?
Innuendo.
Innuendo.
But intuendo
I can't
is
pronounce
all right.
anything. The mind eraser makes me forget words
And,
that I've known
and we'll
for
throw
years.
that out there. We're going to let you guys know how hard we work. And we are filming our second episode today. So
Yeah, it's 2 episodes in one day, so please bear with us. We're having a good time.
But
also, so this is like the biggest topic that I actually, or just the most of the information that I have to research. Everything else we can kind of go off on our own opinions. But it said, it says Paul is dead, miss him if you play Sgt. Pepper's backwards, apparently.
no, they were in this. I actually saw an interview with. They were doing it. It was a behind the music or something, and he was talking about how it was the producer of Sgt. Pepper's that there was something they did. Oh no, Eleanor Rigby. There's all these strings, and so the producer on that song had recorded something and played it backwards, and he was like, as soon as I did it, they wanted everything backwards.
Ugh.
But it's one of those things as a musician, like you go off and, like when you find something that works, you work it to death.
Yeah.
So he's talking about it, you're like, oh, well, you know, but it worked for him. Like they did a
Yeah.
lot of,
I'm
but
like-
there's a huge difference of being like, oh, it was a big deal in like the 80s where like Ozzy Osbourne's do it satanic, Slayer's satanic, all these bands are satanic because if you play something backwards, you get something out of it. Well,
And-
you can actually get something out of it that wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the way it works.
Well, just a quick statement about aliens. I don't want to go big into Roswell, but like, if you don't believe something is bigger than us out there, then you're ignorant. Like,
You know what? I'll say this.
but-
I'll say this one thing about that. The most impact. I believe in UFOs. I believe that there's things that happen. But the most impactful thing that somebody said to me goes, all right, so there's the amount of time that the Earth has existed and that life on the Earth has existed.
yeah,
And he's like, okay, let's say that life had existed on another planet.
yeah,
Now, the biggest difference would be in the million years. In
isn't
that,
it 2.7
No.
billion years or something?
or let's billion years. In
Oh,
those
that's empty.
billions of years, if they existed and you existed, would you be close enough? Not that you couldn't do it, that because of the time in between one and the other, billions of years. You would have to exist as a species.
But the thing is, human
For
beings might not
billions.
be able to have the capability of traveling like that.
No,
but
no.
the people who have
Wait,
twice as long as us
But that's what I'm saying.
might have figured
Let's
it out.
say
But I think we should move on to the 9/11 Pentagon conspiracy theory, which I didn't realize that. I knew the whole conspiracy theory of 9/11 with Bush and like.
Well, you also have multiple conspiracy theories.
Within the yeah.
So you have the towers, and then you have the Pentagon. And
Well, let's
then
talk
you
about
have-
the Pentagon, and then we can go deeper into
Okay.
because I just
let's
read something
talk-
about building
let's
7 or something.
Right. Let's talk the towers real quick. There definitely is discussion that the towers were hit, and that we don't know the whole truth on that.
Yeah.
So that's the big conspiracy. But let's now go to the smaller conspiracy. The Pentagon is way more interesting.
Which
to us.
this is the conspiracy theory that I didn't even know existed as
Right.
well, because like
And we talked about this quite a bit this afternoon.
yeah, and so I found it very intriguing. So, conspiracy theorists think because the hole is so small that and like there was a second hole or
Right. And there is
interconnection
no
to, like, a different
plane
sector.
debris.
yeah, no, well they say there's no plane debris, but so
It's
I
what
looked
hit it.
into that because they were just like the hole is too small for the plane to hit. Well, I looked into it and the way that the plane hit, say here's the building, the wing hit the ground so it broke off, and then the top wing broke off in the crash
So
to the
you
top of the
found
building.
articles that
Yeah.
explain to you why
Yes.
there's no
yes.
debris.
And so, and also the point of the front of the plane hit, and then the wing broke, the left wing broke off into the ground, so it didn't land like straight in, like a great landing straight into the
Right.
fucking building.
Right.
So the left wing broke off, and the top wing broke off as it hit the top of the building, so it only did 75 feet of like damage because it's not like a cartoon.
Right.
It's not like a cartoon. It's not gonna
No,
do
no.
exact ways.
Yeah.
And so
and
also
the building,
they said
and
that
the building is a huge building, government building built with an infrastructure. This is not
Yeah.
This is not an average building.
So there's also questions about because the windows didn't break, like from above the crash. Well, the builders of the window were like,
Right.
well, it's built to
It's built that way.
for hurricanes and pressure
but
and
it's
everything
the
like
Pentagon
that.
too.
Exactly.
It's the Pentagon. It's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and so the windows didn't break right then and there, but like they eventually, I think, collapsed, and broke then. So he was like, it's not built to take fucking planes. He's like, but it is, like the glass is built for that. So if some windows didn't break, it's because we built a good fucking product. But they also said that there was no plane debris. And there was the, not the coroner, but like the examiner of the site. She was the first person on the site. And she's like, I held body parts
Right.
with uniforms of
Right.
the stewardess and the plane. She's like,
Now-
and I have like lots of plane debris with the logo on it.
Okay,
She's
so
like, fuck
unless,
you guys.
Right, but unless you have an actual picture, and
There
I'm
was
not-
a picture.
No, no.
There was a picture on the
for-
site of
but
like
for
a
her,
pretty good. Yeah.
So
But why would you put a
Hold
picture
on.
of body parts online
No.
though? They're not going to do
no,
it.
no. Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, they have. They have,
absolutely.
yeah.
In a situation like this, there are all sorts of 9/11 pictures
Yeah,
of people jumping
I
out
know.
of. So you would
Ugh.
no. I'm not saying
hated
that.
watching
I'm not
it.
saying that's for a children's book,
No.
but I'm saying it's important to capture that for historical significance.
100%.
Okay, so you remember us talking earlier too about the Pentagon was hit. There's air traffic controllers or somebody talking about a missile had hit it, and that's the big conspiracy. Was the plane or was it a missile?
Maybe they shouldn't see it from that far away though.
Right.
We have a short amount of time right here, but I want to tell a funny story about the most racist statement that I've ever said in my life without knowing. I was on my bachelorette party and I was camping, and there was this guy who had made his own teepee, and he was like, he created a new genre of music that I absolutely loved.
And what would we call
it
that
was
genre?
like classic rock with bongos, and it was fucking awesome. And so we asked him if we could borrow a hammer
Got
because
a
we
fever
forgot
for
our
some
hammer
more
for.
bongos.
But we forgot our hammer for the steaks, and we went over there because I was like, fuck, I want to meet this guy playing the awesome bongo music. And he came over, he gave us the hammer. Well, later on he came over and like, not in a mean way, but like the girls had said this. They were just like, he asked if I was pregnant. I was wasted in a bikini on my bachelorette party. And they're like, Bubes, no offense, but like you're the smallest girl in this crowd right now. And he's like, and he thought you were pregnant, and then he thought that he like had discovered some secret, and he's like, oh, they don't know.
But you were not
They
pregnant.
no, I was wasted on my bachelorette party, and he just thought he thought he had found out something that nobody knew, and I knew, but I hadn't told my girlfriend.
So where are we going? Where's the comment?
So anyways, okay, so I tell him, I was like, you need to get the fuck out of my campsite, dude. You need to get out. So my friend, he was my only guy, bridesmaid, and he like flew through the mountains trying to get there, and he's like, I'm gonna be there for your bachelorette party. And he made it at like 11 o'clock, and my poor friend Kelly passed out like 7 o'clock. She's like, I'm tired, dude. And I was like, whatever, it's fine. So I was like, I gotta stay up, he's gonna be here, I gotta wait for him. So he finally got there at like 11 o'clock at night, and then Jose comes over. And Colby's like, fuck it, man. He's like,
Jose.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna get wasted. I was like, you're more than welcome to come to our campsite, but if you fucking ask if I'm pregnant again, you're leaving. And so Kelly comes out after like 4 hours of a nap, and she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, Boobs. And I was like, let's go. And we come back, and they're talking about Jose's talking about how the earth is flat and how there's no gravity. And Colby, he's like, all right. He, just trying to poke the bear. Yeah, he's like trying to poke the bear, and he's like, all right, let's talk about this, man. And Kelly's like, yeah, no, I'm not drunk enough for this. I'm going back to sleep. So I fucking sat there and listened to them.
So you listen to some flat earth shit.
Listen to Colby catch up drink with this crazy truck driver bongo classic rock man. So we go to the hot springs.
I feel like that's any truck driver.
Well,
I feel like
this guy was different. And so we go to the hot springs. I always wanted to go to the hot springs. We'd never gone, and it was only like 30 minutes away. So we go to the hot springs, and so like we have our drinks all around, and I was like, I'm gonna put a fucking fence up and a sign that says no Jose's allowed in our campsite. And Colby goes, Boobs, that is the most racist statement that you've ever said, because this is like right after Trump got elected. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I don't think you knew. No, I didn't mean.
It could have been Frank or Brian or no Franks or no Brian.
His name was Jose.
No, but that's what I'm saying is it ended up being racist because you're a moron, not because you meant to be racist.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying is you were inadvertently being a racist.
And that's why I know I'm not a racist person, because I was like, what are you talking about?
Like, what did you want to put? No, like
I said I was going to build a fence and put a sign up that says no Jose's allowed.
It'd be like, no Pierre's allowed. You're like, oh my God, you're such a
he was gone by the time
country.
we woke up.
You're such an Americanist.
He was gone by the time we woke up the next morning. But I just wanted to tell that story. This is the end of round 2. Where's your head at? And obviously, I need to go find mine. So please, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You guys are amazing in supporting us. Also, like, comment, or share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat.
Tell your friends.
Yes, everybody. We're definitely growing, and we're getting a lot more compliments and comments. So we love you guys, and we will see you for round 3 of Where's Your Head At?